It's August. Can you believe it? I can't. It's absolutely crazy. Hi there. Hi there. This is Trisha Broderick with Ignite Insight and Innovation, and I cannot believe it is August. For me personally, the last 10, 11 weeks have been just a whirlwind of in-person conferences, and I actually took a vacation with my family and whatnot. So kind of coming back, digging in, but I appreciate everybody kind of being willing to go with me last month because our Europe trip was amazing and we didn't check our bags. So we still have our luggage as we're going forward. So today we're coming and some of the tips that we're going to be doing live today is associated around increasing engagement. And this can be in person or remote. As you're going forward with it. But a common thing I constantly hear is like, well, Trisha, if I do that, nobody's participating or nobody's going to engage. And I ask a question and nobody says anything. And so I have to be the one that gives the answer. And I started thinking about what it is that I recommend and what tips I have to increasing that engagement. Again, whether it's in person or remote. So the first one, I'm going to give you 5. I held up 10, but I'm only going to give you 5. So the very first one is, what is your energy and attitude? I just did a impactful training and speaking course and somebody was practicing delivering something and the delivery went something to this effect. Like, well, if you want to do this and, I'm not sure it's going to work or not, but we're going to try and do this activity. I mean, I don't even need to keep listening, right? Like I immediately don't want to do it. So if you're walking in looking for engagement with any kind of internal thoughts that are like, they're going to hate this, I don't know if I like this, I don't want to do this, or anything along those lines, that will come out. That will come out in how you deliver it, how you invite. And it just might even come out in your energy level, right? There is nothing worse. And remote, you have to even up it more. But like, there's nothing worse than looking at a person that talks like, actually, it's even worse. Like when they look and they give in instructions and they're talking like this and they're just doing like, I want to go multitask myself the minute I see that. I don't want to engage. I don't want to be there. And so think about how you're bringing the energy and it may seem over the top, right? And it may seem ridiculous, but it's infectious for a lot of people. Can also be annoying. Let's get real. Okay. Especially if I'm having a really bad day, but it's that same thing as like, if you are having a really bad day and you go in and you're talking with somebody and they're having a good, and suddenly you're smiling, right? Or it can be the opposite, right? It can be I'm just fine until I'm talking with the person is having a really bad day. And then suddenly I hate the world too, right? In that moment. So think about what your energy is, what your attitude is, and it has a big difference in terms of that engagement you'll get back. The second thing I want to highlight, and it's strange that I have to kind of call this out, but let me be clear about this. Talking is not the only form of engagement. I am a talker. I enjoy talking. Sometimes I talk just to think. I know it's a problem. Okay. Things that pop here immediately pop out of here. I get it. But engagement can look like a lot of things. It doesn't always mean the person being willing to shout out and talk in front of a huge group of people. It doesn't mean the person even has something to say right in that moment that they're checked out. No, they can be engaged in a lot of ways. They could be processing, they could be thinking about things. They could be not wanting to do it in that medium. So I really, really, really recommend, variety when you're trying to do engagement. I love a great big group shout out environment, but I can also take it over. And so are you doing activities like 1, 2, 4 all, where people have some individual time to think about it? That's a liberating structure, but people have time to think about it first, then just talk with one other person, then talk with 3 other people and kind of get a comfortable dynamic with that. I mean, it has so many other benefits too, but you could be writing to engage. You could be doing small group versus just big group shout outs. So be careful where you make assumptions about how you engage is how everybody else should engage. It's not the same. And you've got to give that variety and things that are like written instructions just to help people participate. Okay, so that's 2. Third one, give the right to pass. I learned this technique from Sharon Bowman in Training from the Back of the Room. And just at the start of a working agreement saying, hey, you have the right to pass. You can observe. I'll work with you in a different capacity if you don't want to participate in an activity. I love this technique the minute it was highlighted to me, but I honestly didn't know the impact it was going to have. So I started incorporating it. And it is a little bit of like, the minute you give somebody the choice, they're not fighting against the request. So for as many times as I was afraid, like if I give this option, everybody's going to take it and nobody's going to participate. No. In fact, I'm usually the one that has to remind somebody when they're starting to like wig out and freak out and have a panic in a moment in a training. I'm like, you have the right to pass. Take a step back, just kind of observe for a minute. And so here I was afraid everybody was going to use it and never engage. And often I'm now using it as a tool to help people get past kind of a moment where their brain is freaking out on them a little bit and be able to take a minute and process before they start re-engaging again. And so in a healthier, better way. So just giving people that option and then highlighting, hey, the activities encourage the learning. It's part of the benefit of the collaboration, but maybe, we have to have some grace and something just happened, or you just got a reorg email and your brain is like over there and you need a second, right? Things happen. But by just giving that choice, it doesn't feel like you're being forced, which immediately makes people more willing, more understanding of what they have autonomy to do. 4, create some connection. Hi, Jay. There's a delay, so I don't know how long before you wrote that, but hi, Jay. It doesn't show me always all the comments on all of the different platforms this is streaming to, but I do see a couple of them. So if I catch them, I'll call them out. Here's the thing. It kind of builds off that confidence a little bit, but most activities you do to create engagement, to help with that engaging all the voices, the collaboration, are not going to go smoothly the first time. So the person that's not engaging isn't because they just don't want to engage. It's because the exercise, the activity is not very good yet. It wasn't very clear. It didn't work to help lock in the information. I find that sometimes I have to do a couple activities several times before I'm really nailing the learning that I'm trying to get out of it or the collaboration I'm trying to achieve. And so, be careful about your timing of which activities you're doing and which high pressure situations where, if I have a team that's just getting used to engaging and collaborating with each other, I don't try and do the most complicated exercise or the scariest one or trust falls, right? Like start off, build up, do little exercises. You're gaining your confidence in the ability to facilitate them, but you're also helping them to see the value in it versus going, okay, we're going to spend an entire day and you're going to do this one activity to learn what collaboration means. Like, I'm freaked out by that, especially if that's the first time you're ever giving it. It can be kind of a mess when it comes to engagement. So if it does go off the rails, own it. Just, I may say things like, don't have the internal voice out of like, I don't know if this is going to work or not. But when it doesn't work, it's okay then to own it and to say, nope, I tried, that didn't work. We're going to pivot. We're going to take a break so I can reassess on how to better, help this along and going forward. Don't lead off with it, but when it does happen, own it. Okay. And then the last one that I'm going to highlight also might seem like an obvious one a little bit, but just double check. Is it actually a valuable activity? So I'm going to pick on icebreakers for a second. Everybody talks about the benefit of an icebreaker is getting people talking. Well, I already highlighted that talking isn't the only way to do engagement. But 2, if you do what I call like a lazy icebreaker and you have people going, just share with each other where you want a vacation next. Well, I don't want to engage in the rest of the meeting because I'm in Barbados. I'm someplace else that's harder for me to stay focused and relevant into the topic at hand. So make sure that you're kind of picking topics that you're in, activities that help bring people together and really create further that connection, and that they can see the value and relevancy to what you're doing for that meeting, that event, that training, whatever it is. If you don't have that relevance, if you don't have that transitional key point, you can make people feel like you're just having them do things for the sake of doing it, and then your engagement drops again. Like, I will open a dance floor almost anywhere, except I just learned in Nashville, not in line dancing. Like that one, no, it wasn't my thing. But I did a training once, and I'll refrain from saying the name of the training, and they opened it where people were dancing, but they never explained why we were dancing or what we were dancing, or never transitioned it into the content and the material. And it bugged me, because I was like, was it just for fun? Which is fine. But then tell me that, like, I go meta so often in terms of analyzing what we're doing and why we're doing it, that when you just do things for the sake of doing things, the next time they were like, well, do this, I'm like, you tell me why we're doing this first. And it broke some trust as to the requests that are being made of you when you're asking for that engagement. So really kind of think about that value. Another example is asking people to have their camera on. Look, I've already talked about this. I have no tolerance for the no camera thing, but yet on the same note, I don't need everybody on the camera just so they're doing this to me all the time, right? Think about how you can incorporate the camera a little bit so that it feels like there's a reason that everybody's on camera too. You know, I do a lot of like show of hands. Don't worry about the reactions on the screen. That takes too long. Just show me your quick hands. I can see people on the screen. I have a team where we hand out little tiny elephants, and then somebody during, if there's a meeting and things are going off right, somebody can actually have the elephant just popping up in the meeting of like, oh, we're not talking about something, and seeing it. And so you're using the camera as part of the way to communicate, not just a tracker, right? Like we don't, like, it's not about tracking. It's not about any of those things. It's about engagement. It's about connection, but help give them reasons to see the value of being connected versus just staring at somebody. And yes, there's benefit of even being able to see it. I like these lives, but I also make me super sad. Like I would like to see Jay's face right now. I would like to be able to like laugh and look at him and wave a little bit, right? So the one way of the camera can be really tough. And so there's value in just even being on camera, but try and incorporate it and see if you can get a little bit of usage that they see the value beyond that, right? And here's my bonus tip with this. I'm going to give you a bonus one. I'm feeling nice and energized after, especially after Agile 2022. That was good for my soul. Here's my bonus one. Even if you sometimes think the activity totally didn't nail the mark, totally went off the rails, that nothing was learned, before you own it, ask this question in the debrief. What can you take away from that? And you might just be surprised the things they come up with that maybe you didn't attend, but still was good. Maybe you did attend and you didn't realize they caught it. Don't do activities without the debriefs, and make sure your opening statement in that debrief gives them space to share, to be insightful, to make connections, to link things, to draw insights. And so there have been so many times that I was like, okay, that did not work how I wanted. They're not getting that. And then I do the debrief and I'm like, how did that happen? And how did they get that? Or that was even better than I could have hoped for. So don't give up too soon on that engagement, because sometimes in the debrief, with every quality debrief you have, the next request for activity or engagement gets easier, because they're starting to see the value and they want to participate in that. So give them that experience as you're going forward. So those are my tips, a bonus one on top of it for this week. And coming up, I actually do have some publics coming up. I have an advanced CSM, which building facilitation skills for leaders, right? How do you engage those voices? Actually, we do a lot of techniques that cover this kind of material a little bit in terms of how do we help make sure different styles and mediums are there? How do you help a team get to group decisions and consensus with those things? And that is, I got a peek, September 12th and 13th. It's about just under half full right now. So if you're looking at that, that will be available again on my Ignite II site. And maybe I'll just post that in chat comments right now while I'm thinking about it. And I also have the next Leading Amazing Teams course that I co-teach with Jake Calabrese. That's in October. That's about building coaching skills, not agile coach, non-agile coach, but coaching skills, helping people learn and grow and develop as they're going forward. And then I'm trying to get better about this. I'm trying to be better. I am super excited, but I am not great about the marketing thing. I continue to own it, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it, people. The book is on pre-order, still available, but we are inching closer and closer to the official release at the end of September, the 27th. So check that out. Diana and I mean, we were happy with the content and happy with the things that we were writing about. But as we start speaking about it at different conferences, as we start doing things this summer, especially, it's been really exciting to like dig even deeper into the conversations of like power and conflict and just growing teams. And so I'm really, really excited. But again, that is out there and available for pre-order now. So until next time, until September, I'm almost afraid to say that. I feel like August is going to fly by, but until then, be well and all the best.